Thank you very much for joining me today. We're going to be discussing development, real estate, architecture, and everything Miami. I'd like to thank Joe DaGrosa for being here with us today. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be discussing a little bit about private equity, real estate development, and everything Miami with you today. So thank you again for joining us.
Happy to be here. Thanks, Simon.
So real estate development is obviously an area that I'm very interested in. Run an investment company, the Condo Store, out of Canada and now out of Miami. How do you feel about the changes in Miami since the pandemic?
Yes.
Miami appears to have become like the epicenter for global migration. In the past, obviously, we all know Miami used to be a favorite destination for Latin America, but now that we have so many people coming from New York and from California, how do you think that's really changing the entire dynamics for business in Miami? Because Miami was never really known as a business city.
Right. Well, a couple of things. First, Malcolm Gladwell wrote a great book called The Tipping Point. And the basic thesis is that you reach a certain point of no return. And I think we've reached that point of no return here in Miami. I've been down here just over 25 years, and the changes that have occurred during the COVID pandemic to now, I think dwarf what happened in the prior 20 years. We've seen a fundamental change, as you touched on. It was a Latin American market from a real estate perspective. It is now a global market. It's not just folks from the Northeast. It's not just folks from the West Coast, and it's a fundamental change. And I think it's a change that is going to continue in a very positive way because we have passed that point of no return.
I actually met Malcolm a few weeks ago. He was speaking at Fire in a Rose. Interesting Canadian.
Brilliant guy.
Brilliant guy,
Yeah.
indeed. What's your vision right now for Miami? Like, what do you think is going to happen in the, let's not go too long term, but in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think we're in the golden age of Miami. I think that technology combined with taxes, combined with quality of life, have all converged to make Miami one of the best cities in the world to live in. So I think we're in the golden age of Miami, and I think it'll be the golden age of Miami for the next 5 or 10 years. So even if our overall economy, hit some bumpy patches, I think Miami will weather the storm better than most, and I think it's going to grow at a faster rate.
What do you think is going to happen in regards to affordability? Because that's what comes up on the news a lot right now. For locals that can no longer really afford to live here. And that's happening in Toronto, Canada, by the way. It's happening in a lot of major cities. But do you think there's going to be an exodus of workforce while there's new high net worth money just coming in?
Yeah, I think there's a real risk, and I'm glad you pointed that out. There's a real risk that it becomes a tale of two cities, where you have super high end, and then you have a lack of affordable housing. I know it's a keen initiative, at the city level and at the county level to promote affordable housing. That needs to happen. Otherwise, we're going to have some major problems here. The other thing is, at the high end, the challenge is schools. There's a lack of private schools. So I think the two key issues are affordable housing for the workforce and a lack of high quality private schools for the high-end market. And that certainly needs to be addressed.
The talk seems to be all about AI right now. And I've been talking to people in the advertising sector that are finding that it's really hurting their business. But I don't really know how it's going to affect real estate development or even private equity. Is there any areas of AI other than investing in it that you feel that could really help the industry? Or do you think it's just too early to tell?
I look at it through a different prism, which is who are the haves and have-nots as a result of AI. And I think the middle class is going to be hurt considerably by AI. There's a whole host of positions that are white-collar positions that I think are going to be rendered obsolete over the next 5 to 10 years, and there'll be an acceleration of that obsolescence. What does that mean? It means the rich are going to get richer and the poor are going to get poorer, or the middle class are going to come under some pressure. So I think that bodes well for high-end luxury development, but I am very concerned for our country, that we have to find ways to find other opportunities for people to retool their capabilities and get back into the workforce. You already see sort of at the lower end how technology and quick service restaurants are rendering, blue-collar workers somewhat obsolete, and it's a real challenge and something that we're going to have to deal with as a country.
So Joe, tell me what drove you in your career, and also what keeps you up at night?
Two good questions. What drove me in my career was really a desire to move from being an agent to a principal. When I worked on Wall Street, an investment banker is an agent in a transaction. An institutional salesman is an agent in a transaction. I really wanted to move to the principal side of the business, and so that was always the driver for me. In my case, I don't have an MBA, and so that was a barrier to entry on Wall Street, and I was very fortunate in that I did reasonably well on Wall Street, and I found a mentor who could care less if I had an MBA. He said, look, you're a reasonably intelligent guy, and I can teach you the business. So great case of serendipity for me that got me into private equity, and I'd like to think I took as full advantage of it as I possibly could. What keeps me up at night? What's happening in the world, I think, keeps all of us up at night. Anything can happen on the other side of the world and could have a profound effect on our quality of life here. Specifically the Russian-Ukraine war, what's happening with Hamas and Israel, those sorts of things keep me up at night. If for no other reason than as a human being, I care about what's going on. But I also think it could have ultimately a profound effect on the global economy. Now, I think the U.S., never bet against the U.S. It's something that Buffett said, and I firmly agree with that. If there's ever a crisis in the U.S., historically that's been the time to buy, and I don't think that's going to change. So those are the sorts of things that I worry about.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the political environment on a global basis is actually quite scary. Mm-hmm. There seems to be this huge movement right now of just radical beliefs, whether it's from the left or the right. I want to thank you for coming in today. I know you have an extremely busy schedule, and I know today was a very stressful day, but I really appreciate that you coming in, giving us some insight, letting us know about your background, and hopefully we're going to be doing some business together as well soon.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you
here
very
today,
much,
Simon.
Joe. Appreciate it.